The Kansas City Chiefs are gearing up to take on the Los Angeles Chargers in what is actually a fairly consequential game for both teams here. Should the Chargers win, they are alive in winning the AFC West. But I don't think that's going to happen. Now, 5 things worth watching here. The number one thing, I think everybody knows this. I think everybody is tuning in to figure out exactly what is going to happen at the left tackle position for the Kansas City Chiefs. DJ Humphries is newly acquired and will reportedly line up with the starters on the left side of the line tonight versus the Chargers. Should DJ Humphries be who DJ Humphries was? And look, there's going to be some ring rust, so maybe just knocking that off will get him back to where he was. Maybe it won't. Should DJ Humphries be who he was? The Kansas City Chiefs offense is going to be a whole lot better heading into the final stretch of the season and into the playoffs. The more I look at what this offense has done, where this offense has been, the mistimings of this offense, the miscues of this offense, it's a matter of the line. And not always, really. Sometimes it's a matter of the line as far as Patrick Mahomes believes the line is breaking down. Patrick Mahomes does not, I would not say that Patrick Mahomes gets happy feet, because Patrick Mahomes will throw off of whatever platform he so desires. But there is something like that where he sort of seemingly bails on the play as one would imagine it was called. Should they get back to their X's and O's, their paint by numbers, however it is that you want to say it, for this offense, I think they have the pieces to really do some damage in the postseason. Travis Kelce is maybe not who Travis Kelce has been his entire career, but he's not as good as he once was, but he can be as good once as he ever was, right? That sort of thing for Travis Kelce. And Xavier Worthy is getting open. Xavier Worthy is making catches out of bounds and getting open. If he can fix the stepping out of bounds thing and Mahomes has the time to find him, then this offense looks completely different. Speaking of, moving on to point number 2 here, Xavier Worthy, the last time these two teams played each other, Xavier Worthy was 3 receptions for 73 yards and a touchdown. We have seen Xavier Worthy over the past few weeks really sort of emerge as a player who is getting regular targets. Not just the deep stuff, not stuff like Rashee Rice last year right at the line of scrimmage. Xavier Worthy is getting crossing routes. Xavier Worthy is getting drag routes. Xavier Worthy is making actual football plays, not just rinky-dink stuff, not just round the edge stuff, not just a token target downfield in order to see if he can catch the football. Not that at all. He is being integrated to the actual game plan in a way that so the role that he's playing for this offense right now is essentially what it was that Marquez Valdes-Scantling has done before. He's the stretch the field guy. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, once he sort of fell off of the face of the earth here in Kansas City, he was never really integrated into the game plans after that. He just kind of was on the field and running around and made no receptions after like week 8 until the playoffs. You know what I'm talking about. That has not been the case for Xavier Worthy. Now, the dichotomization of his rookie season has not been quite so stark as it was for Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice had a slow beginning, and then all of a sudden, he is the number 1 wide receiver. Xavier Worthy had a beginning to his season where he was not quite as targeted as often and not quite making the receptions, right? He had a lower completion percentage to him, but he was getting more carries. They seemingly wanted to make sure they were getting him on film so that teams would have to contend with the potentiality of Xavier Worthy. We have seen Xavier Worthy turn into a legitimate receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. Not a number one receiver, but a legitimate receiver. Last year, with Rashee Rice, the real transformation took place in the postseason, where Rashee Rice all of a sudden was seemingly a dominant wide receiver. Should that trajectory carry forth for Xavier Worthy, it won't be dominant wide receiver. It won't be number one wide receiver. What it will be is the guy who can catch the 40-yard bomb at any moment. That is what the same progression would be for Xavier Worthy. We saw some of that potential in the first time the Chargers played the Chiefs, with Xavier Worthy going off 3 for 73 and a touchdown. It would be interesting. So he's also building familiarity by this point in his rookie year, right? This is the second time he will have played the Chargers. There will be things that he picked up, not just in the NFL, but against this team that he can hope to replicate. The number 3 thing here worth watching, in my opinion, is the defensive line. The defensive line started to look alive last week, and I think that a big part of that was due to the return of Charles Omenihu. Now, Charles Omenihu did not collect very many stats, a single tackle on the game. But his presence allowed George Karlaftis to get back in the sack column, and it allowed Chris Jones the opportunity at 2 sacks. Chris Jones also had 2 sacks the first time the Chargers played the Chiefs. Could this be the game where the sugar is added to the Kool-Aid and all of a sudden that entire defensive line just works right? We saw a little bit of it the first time these two teams played, a little bit of action along the defensive line, and there was no Charles Omenihu at that time. There might not have been a Mike Dana at that time, if I'm remembering correctly. So there was obviously no Josh Uche at that time. So there are myriad ways that the Kansas City Chiefs will have to attack Justin Herbert that they did not last time. The 4th thing worth watching in this game is this: Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, we're going to be watching Patrick Mahomes, but here's the thing. The first time the Chiefs played the Chargers this season, that was kind of the first time we really saw Patrick Mahomes this season look like Patrick Mahomes. The Kansas City Chiefs won a shootout in Week 1 versus the Ravens, but something was just off. There was, of course, the Bengals game, which was not a stunning win for Patrick Mahomes, but it was a win. The Falcons game, not the greatest performance from Mahomes, and we started wondering what's going on here. Then the Chargers game happened, and yeah, he threw an interception. He went 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but for the first time this season, he kind of reminded you of Patrick Mahomes. Is that going to repeat today? He's been looking much more Patrick Mahomes-ish the past few the past few weeks, pardon me. Over the past 5 weeks, he has 4 games with 0 interceptions, which was what was really the interceptions really holding him back during those first few weeks of the season. He has seemingly settled into this offense, settled into the pacing, settled into the fact that maybe the left tackle spot is not what he wants, and he is learning to take advantage of those things, and he is learning not to make mistakes where he doesn't need to make them. The Bills game was a bit of an aberration, but it is what it is. This is the NFL. People are going to get you when they get you. The number 5 thing worth watching here is maybe just as big as the number 1 thing, DJ Humphries, the energy levels. The Kansas City Chiefs can't win the number 1 can't win the 1 seed in the AFC bracket this week. That's true. But they can secure a home game by beating the Chargers. By beating the Chargers, they become the actual AFC West champions for the 9th consecutive season. And that means you are guaranteed a home playoff game. It puts you in very good position to win the number 1 seed. It also puts you in very good position to secure the number 1 seed if you don't get the number 1 seed, because what it does is right now, the Chiefs would probably either be the number 1 or number 2 seed. Great. Playoffs come. Maybe you have to play, you're the number 2 seed, we'll say. You have to play in Wild Card Weekend. You do not get the bye. That's fine. Say the Chiefs win that game. Then you have the divisional round, and if the Bills lose there, say the Bills are the number 1 seed in this scenario, then you are the number 1 seed. You get home field to the playoffs. So winning this week keeps you on that trajectory and puts you in very good position to maintain the number 1 seed, puts you in great position to actually, it would win you the division, right? It would mean that the Chargers do not win the division, and who knows how they take that? Who knows how that team responds? Right now, the first 2 non-division champions in the playoffs for the AFC are the Chargers and the Broncos. Absolutely wild. Anyway, that's what I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week, and I hope to have you back for the next one.